So recently, some of the new designs for the new Persona mobile game being made for the Chinese market started being shown off. And as well as designs for the new playable characters, we're also given designs for a bunch of classic S&T demons / shadows, and how they've been reworked for the Chinese market, which basically amounts to they've been covered up more for the most part. And so a friend of mine highlighted specifically Succubus's design, where she now has what appears to be a layer of nylon of what used to be exposed skin, and said this design looks cooler than the original. And I agree, personally. I agree so much that I pointed out that this reminds me of that Dead or Alive mobile game for the Chinese market that did something very similar with a bunch of its classic designs. And I said they looked way cooler. Twitter did not like this. It was suddenly decided by a bunch of randos who don't know me that I'm apparently pro-censorship just because I like the new designs that were created as a result of censorship. Now, there were people who disagreed with my assessment on these designs, and that's fine. It's fine to have a different take on it. People have different tastes. That's totally fine. If you prefer Rachel showing more skin or Momiji's boob window to be fully open, totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. But then you get the people who got really, really mad about it and decided to judge my entire character based on the fact that I like these designs. As if me saying that I like these designs that happen to be censored versions of other designs means I like them because they are censored and not just because the way they were censored appeals more to me on an aesthetic level, because I've never cared for the overly skimpy outfits. It's why, even though I dislike the overly covered up direction modern Mortal Kombat designs have gone with its ladies, I'm not going to say we should go back to what they did in MK9, because MK9 was a bit extreme. It works for some characters, but not for others. And even for the ones it does work for, like Melina, I prefer stuff like the MKX one, or that scrapped rework of the Deception design they were going to use for MKX. Just exposed skin to me is boring and comes off incredibly lazy. Like, here's how we're going to appeal to people. Showing off a lot of skin. No, do something more interesting, cooler, something with more character. And so these reworks come along and they have these little extra bits of black that I think add a lot to the designs. Like, I think Kasumi's design looks better with more black instead of just being blue, white, and exposed skin. I think Rachel's outfit here looks like an actual outfit, not just the generic sexy lady in a skimpy outfit that the original version was. And Momiji's massively open cleavage never even made sense for her character anyway, so having a bit of extra black there to cover it up works, and it adds to what we typically imagine of a sexy lady ninja with the mesh undershirt. And then you look at a character like Succubus, and it's like, instead of exposed skin, it's nylon or something, and that is sexy to a lot of people. You know, people saw the Succubus redesign and said, she's not showing off loads and loads of exposed skin, she's meant to be a sex demon, why has she not got tons of exposed skin? I'm not having this. As if exposed skin is literally the only way a person can be sexy. You know, at least with Incubus, when they put spandex shorts over him, so instead of having his big, sharp rod exposed all the time, he's covered up. I can understand why you would look at that and say the most iconic part of the design has been removed, and also that spandex shorts. While clearly there are people who find that sexy, it's not quite as common as nylon on a woman, which is obviously a problem when you're looking at the male sex demon, right? So there's more of an argument to be made with that one, I would say. But both my friend and I got shit for liking these redesigns from people who are either of the opinion that only exposed skin is sexy, or that liking something that is censored means you like the censorship. I mean, what, do they watch a show like South Park where they bleep out the words shit and fuck and then say, if you laughed at that joke where they censored those words, you're laughing at it because the words are censored and not because of the words themselves? It's just lunacy. It's such a terrible, awful, ill-conceived argument. And it shows how desperate people are to have some kind of moral crusade. I mean, we saw it with the Hogwarts Legacy thing a few months ago. Moral crusades appeal to the most awful people because it gives them free license to be awful people. Because if they're campaigning against people playing a video game based on an IP owned by a TERF, that means they can argue that, well, you're harming trans people. I'm the hero here. I have the moral high ground. I'm here fighting injustice, so I have free license to do whatever I want because I'm in the right. What's that? You like these Chinese censorships, or you're trying to increase your social credit? I'm going to throw a bunch of obscene things at you on Twitter because I'm the good guy in this situation, because I don't like censorship. You clearly do. You know, people who think they are morally correct are capable of the worst things. And people who want to do the worst things are attracted to opportunities to do so. And we as a society just don't fight back against that kind of attitude enough. So we're at a point where people will argue that if you like this altered design where a character is more covered up, that you're a bad person. fucking absurd. And I'd also like to make the observation that all these people complaining about these designs, about Succubus being covered up, about Incubus having these spandex shorts, I didn't see a single one of those arseholes complaining that Hellbiker no longer has a skull face, he has a mask on, and it makes him look atrocious. No one complained about that, even though that's also censorship. It's just censoring a different thing. That's censoring skeletons, because Chinese media has a big issue with skeletons being depicted. This has been known for decades. But that is not something people complain about. People only complain about it when their sexy female demon designs are not allowed to show as much skin. Either it's all okay, or none of it's okay. If you take issue with Succubus having her skin covered up, or Incubus no longer having his spiky demon cock, then you have to also not be okay with Hellbiker's redesign. You have to also complain and campaign against that. If you don't, then you are not worth listening to, because clearly you don't care about censorship. You don't. That's not what this is about. This is about the fact that you can't jack off to the female demon designs anymore. That's all you care about, because you have the sexual maturity of a 14-year-old who thinks that the only thing that is sexy in the world is exposed skin. And so, to summarize, I like the redesigns of some of these demons. Not all of them. I don't care for Incubus. I think the way they did that was lame and lazy. And I don't like the Hellbiker one, obviously. But with the designs like Succubus, I like what they've done with it. There are certainly much worse ways they could have censored it, and I think this was done well enough and remains true to the concept of the female sex demon. I like the tweaks to the designs of the DOA girls in that mobile game, because the black adds a lot to the design where it's not just generic uncovered flesh. It adds a nice bit to the colour balancing. I like the stockings that Mithra was given in Smash Bros. They look really nice. Just because something comes from a bad place doesn't mean it is necessarily bad. Good things can come from bad places just as bad things can come from good places. And one last thing here, don't say someone's opinion is bad just because you disagree with it. Explain why you disagree with it, because an opinion's value is not in who has it, it's in how well that person can back it up and explain it. If all you have is your opinion is wrong, then I'm sorry, your opinion is dog shit. It has no value. And this is something that I've had to deal with for years, because I put out a 2 or 4 hour video about a Mortal Kombat game explaining in extreme detail why I think this thing is bad, and they say, nah, actually it's good though. The ones you like are bad, and that's all they have to say. That's worthless. You're worthless. You are a waste of space and a waste of time. And you and your worthless opinions are worth no more consideration than that.